Have you ever felt like you're constantly overwhelmed by stress and daily pressures? In a time when productivity and busyness are seen as virtues, keeping calm and a positive attitude can seem almost impossible. Even with the best intentions to manage our emotions better, we often don't know where to start, and we end up just reacting to difficult situations, accumulating more frustration and anxiety. Today, I want to bring a perspective that can help transform this relationship with stress and negative emotions. We're going to explore Buddhist teachings and understand how they can be practically applied in our daily lives to bring serenity, balance, and a positive mindset. The idea isn't to adopt a new belief system but rather to incorporate simple yet powerful practices that can make your routine lighter, even in challenging moments. Buddhism, with its ancient wisdom, offers tools that help us observe and deal with difficult feelings and situations without being ruled by them. Throughout this video, we'll cover principles like mindfulness, acceptance, compassion, and non-attachment, exploring how they can change the way we see what's happening around us and, more importantly, within us. If you've ever felt the need for more calm, clarity, and resilience, stay with me until the end. Let's take the first step together toward a more harmonious life and a more serene mind. We live in an era where external demands never seem to ease up. The constant pressure for productivity, the fear of missing something important, and unexpected demands keep us in an almost constant state of alert. Social media, work deadlines, family, and financial responsibilities form a network of tensions that builds up, making it very difficult to find moments of true calm and reflection. This scenario contributes to our emotions becoming intense and sometimes uncontrollable. When we're constantly surrounded by stimuli and pressures, it's common to react impulsively, feeling anger, anxiety, or frustration in situations that, under different circumstances, we might handle with more calm. In this whirlwind, many of us end up feeling powerless, as if negative emotions are uncontrollable forces pulling us along. Maintaining a positive mindset starts to seem like a distant ideal, something that sounds desirable, but unrealistic given the reality we face. Buddhism, however, reminds us that this emotional roller coaster is largely a consequence of our perception and automatic reactions. When the mind isn't trained, it tends to follow repetitive and automatic thought patterns, which causes us to fall into the same emotional traps again and again. So, stress and negativity are not merely the result of what happens around us but are largely influenced by how we interpret and respond to these situations. The first step to transforming this dynamic is understanding that we can, indeed, have control over our reactions, even if that initially feels challenging. Practicing the observation and acknowledgement of our emotions without judging or suppressing them can help us create a healthy distance between ourselves and what we feel. This understanding is fundamental for changing the way we react to what troubles us, reducing the impact of negative emotions on our inner peace. So, in the coming sections, we'll explore practices that help reduce stress and create a more solid foundation of serenity. With principles like mindfulness and acceptance, you'll start to realize that, despite external challenges, there's a space within you where calm and positivity can flourish. Let's move forward together and explore how these Buddhist teachings can help us break free from the cycle of reactivity, achieving a more balanced and centered life. At the heart of Buddhist teachings, the practice of mindfulness, or being fully present, plays a fundamental role. Mindfulness means being completely in the moment, observing thoughts and sensations without being carried away by them. For many of us, this may be a new concept, as we're used to having our minds scattered between memories of the past and worries about the future. But when we learn to practice mindfulness, we discover that it's possible to live more consciously, with less reactivity and more clarity. Mindfulness is not just an abstract concept, it's something we can cultivate daily. Practically speaking, mindfulness means being aware and focused on what we're doing in each moment. It's about bringing attention to our breath, bodily sensations, and surroundings, without judging or trying to change anything. This simple exercise of reconnecting to the present is the first step to reducing anxiety and stress, as most of our worries stem from thoughts about what has happened or what is yet to come. Imagine, for example, that you're in a stressful situation at work. Mindfulness can be applied right there, amid the pressure. Instead of being overtaken by stress, you can take a pause, breathe deeply, and bring your attention back to the present moment. By calmly inhaling and exhaling, you begin to observe what you're feeling without being swept up by your emotions. This simple act of mindfulness helps reduce the intensity of your emotions and allows you to regain control over how you want to respond. You can gradually incorporate mindfulness into your routine. If you're just starting out, take a few minutes each day to sit quietly and focus on your breathing. 5 or 10 minutes is all you need to begin. As you continue practicing, you'll find that this skill of focusing on the present becomes easier to apply, even in more challenging situations. Guided meditation is also a great way to begin. There are many free and accessible options to help you develop this practice more consistently. In addition to reducing stress, mindfulness has a profound impact on how we deal with negative thoughts. We're often quickly consumed by recurring thoughts of worry or frustration. But with mindfulness, we learn to observe these thoughts without getting involved in them. Gradually, we realize that thoughts are just thoughts. They come and go, like clouds in the sky. Adopting this perspective allows us to break the cycle of reactivity and anxiety that these thoughts often trigger. One of the greatest benefits of mindfulness is that it makes us more aware of our choices. Instead of reacting automatically to a stressful situation, you can choose to respond with calmness, wisdom, and serenity. Mindfulness offers a new perspective. Rather than being passive spectators of our emotions and thoughts, we can become active participants, observing and choosing how we wish to respond. By incorporating mindfulness into your life, you're building a foundation for inner peace and a positive mindset. This practice helps us create a space within ourselves where we can experience calmness, even amid external chaos. In the upcoming sections, we'll explore other principles that, along with mindfulness, complement this journey of personal transformation and further strengthen our ability to cope with stress and negative emotions. The concept of impermanence is one of the pillars of Buddhism, and understanding this idea can be a powerful tool for developing acceptance and inner peace. Impermanence reminds us that everything in life is temporary: experiences, emotions, difficult situations, and even happy moments. Nothing stays the same forever. While this might seem discouraging at first, accepting the impermanent nature of things can lighten the weight of our worries and suffering. When we resist what is happening, we end up intensifying our suffering. Instead, by practicing acceptance, we make space for feelings and situations to simply exist without trying to control or change them. This doesn't mean we need to like or approve of everything that happens, but it does mean that we can choose not to fight against what is beyond our control. This awareness helps us navigate challenges more lightly, as we understand that even the most difficult situations will eventually pass. Acceptance based on impermanence is especially useful for dealing with intense emotions, like sadness, anger, or anxiety. When we experience these emotions, our natural reaction is to want them to disappear as quickly as possible. But by trying to suppress or ignore these feelings, we end up intensifying the pain. Instead, we can observe our emotions with curiosity, as if we were watching clouds pass in the sky. We know that these emotions are temporary, just like any other experience, and that they will soon be replaced by other feelings. A helpful practice for cultivating acceptance is to observe moments when we start to resist our own emotions or situations. When you notice yourself struggling against something that can't be changed, try taking a pause and saying to yourself, "This too shall pass." Remember that each emotion and situation is just a fleeting moment. When we can let go of the desire to control everything, we experience an emotional freedom that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Accepting impermanence allows us to see the beauty in life's flow. We can begin to appreciate each moment without trying to hold on to it, understanding that every experience has its own time and that nothing needs to be permanent to be valuable. This practice helps us develop a sense of inner peace and prepares us to handle inevitable changes, making us more resilient. In the next sections, we will explore other practices that, along with acceptance and mindfulness, complement the cultivation of a balanced and positive mindset. Compassion and gratitude will be our next focus, offering a fresh perspective to face challenges and appreciate each moment with a lighter and more positive outlook. Compassion and gratitude are fundamental practices for developing a positive and resilient mindset. In Buddhism, compassion is seen as one of the most powerful paths to inner peace, as it helps us expand our perception beyond ourselves and genuinely connect with others. Gratitude, in turn, reminds us to appreciate what we have and recognize the positive side of experiences, even amid challenges. Compassion can be defined as the ability to recognize and wish to relieve suffering, both our own and that of others. Often, we are quick to judge ourselves and others, which creates constant tension. But when we practice compassion, we learn to look at flaws and difficulties with more empathy, allowing the weight of self-criticism to lessen. By developing this skill, we become more patient and understanding, which positively impacts our mental and emotional health. In daily life, a practical way to cultivate compassion is to reflect on how we treat ourselves in difficult moments. Have you noticed how, in challenging situations, you tend to be harder on yourself than on others? Try, in these situations, to imagine offering yourself the same support you would give a dear friend. This exercise in self-compassion helps to reduce the impact of negative emotions and creates an internal environment of acceptance and serenity. Gratitude is another essential pillar that complements compassion and strengthens our ability to maintain a positive mindset. By cultivating gratitude, we start to value the small things that we often overlook because we're focused on problems or goals. The practice of gratitude helps us shift our focus from what we lack to what we have, allowing us to find joy and contentment in everyday situations, even when circumstances aren't ideal. A simple exercise for developing gratitude is to take a pause at the end of each day and reflect on 3 things you are grateful for. These could be small experiences, like a pleasant conversation, a tasty meal, or a moment of tranquility. When we practice this exercise regularly, we train our minds to look for positive aspects in situations, contributing to a more balanced and optimistic worldview. By integrating compassion and gratitude into our lives, we strengthen our ability to respond to challenges with an open heart and a lighter mind. These practices help us create a more stable emotional foundation, which prepares us to handle stress and difficulties more healthily. In the next chapter, we will explore the concept of letting go of expectations, which complements compassion and gratitude, allowing us to live more fully in the present and be content with what is. One of the main causes of stress and frustration is excessive attachment to expectations. When we create rigid expectations about how things should happen, we become vulnerable to disappointment, especially when reality doesn't match what we imagined. Letting go of expectations, a Buddhist principle, helps us handle this reality more lightly, allowing us to accept what life offers with less resistance. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean giving up goals or dreams, rather, it means not depending on a specific outcome to find satisfaction. Often, we become so fixed on an idea of how something should be that we fail to appreciate what's actually happening around us. This attachment creates a barrier that prevents us from fully living in the present because we are always projecting our happiness onto a future that may never come. In daily life, practicing detachment from expectations can start with small actions. For example, if you plan a perfect day or expect a meeting to go exactly as you envision, try to keep an open mind for the unexpected. Instead of clinging to the result, focus on the process and the experience each situation brings. This way, you create space to accept what comes without suffering from the gap between expectation and reality. Detachment is also very helpful in our relationships, where we often expect others to act according to our wishes. When we accept that each person has their own way of being and acting, we learn to appreciate relationships more authentically, without demanding that others change to meet our expectations. This practice frees us from frustration and promotes more harmonious interactions. By letting go of expectations, you begin to experience a sense of freedom and lightness. This practice allows us to find peace regardless of outcomes, fostering a more resilient mindset that is satisfied with the present moment. In the next chapter, we'll discuss how to apply all of these principles in daily life, turning them into habits that support a more serene and balanced life. So far, we've explored fundamental principles of Buddhism: mindfulness, acceptance, compassion, gratitude, and detachment from expectations, all aimed at helping us manage stress and negative emotions more healthily. However, for these concepts to truly make a difference in our lives, we need to turn them into daily practices. In this chapter, we'll discuss practical and simple ways to apply these teachings to our routines, so they become a solid foundation for well-being and inner peace. The first practice we can adopt is to start the day with a few minutes of mindfulness. Before getting up and engaging in daily activities, set aside 5 to 10 minutes to sit in silence and focus on your breathing. Breathe in and out slowly, feeling the air entering and leaving your body. This brief mindfulness exercise helps stabilize the mind and set a calm tone for the day, giving you an opportunity to start with clarity and serenity. Additionally, throughout the day, you can practice mindfulness in common activities, such as eating, walking, or even washing dishes. Instead of performing these tasks automatically, bring your attention to the present moment, observing the sensations and details of each action. These small mindful pauses help slow down the fast pace and reconnect you with the now, reducing accumulated stress. Acceptance can be applied in moments of challenge. When you encounter a situation that causes anxiety or frustration, instead of resisting or trying to control what is beyond your reach, try to accept what is happening. Take a deep breath and remember, this too shall pass. This simple exercise in acceptance is a reminder that life is constantly moving and that every situation is temporary, which helps reduce pressure and allows you to face challenges with a calmer mind. Compassion and gratitude can also be part of your routine. Set aside a few minutes at the end of the day to reflect on 3 things you are grateful for. It could be something small, like a kind gesture from someone, an accomplishment at work, or even a moment of rest. This daily gratitude practice shifts your focus from problems to the positives in your life, strengthening a more optimistic mindset. Additionally, practice compassion toward yourself and others. When you make a mistake, avoid harsh judgment. Instead, treat yourself with the same understanding and support you would offer a friend. Detachment from expectations can be exercised by adopting a more flexible mindset. Throughout the day, observe situations where you find yourself clinging to a specific outcome. Try to let go of this need for control and simply be present in the moment without anticipating what will happen. For example, in a conversation with a colleague or friend, instead of expecting a particular response, allow the dialogue to flow naturally. This helps build more authentic relationships and reduces the stress caused by the expectation of controlling situations and people. Finally, remember that you don't need to practice all these principles at once. Start gradually, selecting one practice per week, and slowly build up. Consistency is more important than intensity. Over time, you'll see these habits become part of your life, helping you build a foundation of serenity and resilience. By applying these principles daily, you'll cultivate an inner transformation that reflects a state of peace and balance. In the next chapter, we'll discuss how these daily habits impact our lives, promoting long-term benefits for mental and emotional health. By practicing these principles consistently, you begin to experience a profound inner transformation that reflects in all aspects of your life. The combination of mindfulness, acceptance, compassion, gratitude, and detachment creates a more stable emotional foundation, allowing you to face challenging situations with a calmer and more resilient mind. This change doesn't happen overnight, but over time, the benefits begin to show, promoting a lasting state of peace and balance. One of the main benefits of this inner transformation is emotional resilience. The continuous practice of these principles strengthens your ability to handle difficulties and overcome negative emotions without being overpowered by them. Instead of reacting impulsively to every problem, you become capable of responding with clarity and serenity, which reduces stress and improves the quality of your relationships and decisions. Additionally, you also develop a more positive and fulfilling perspective on life. Over time, gratitude and acceptance help shift the mind's focus, allowing you to notice the small joys of everyday life rather than just focusing on difficulties. This renewed outlook brings a sense of contentment that doesn't rely on external circumstances but instead comes from peace cultivated within. Throughout this journey, you build a solid foundation for a more fulfilling and satisfying life. In the next and final chapter, we'll wrap up with practical advice to maintain this transformation and an inspiring message to encourage you to keep applying these teachings in your daily life. Reaching this point is the first step on a journey that leads to inner peace and true emotional resilience. This inner transformation, supported by the practice of mindfulness, acceptance, compassion, gratitude, and detachment, is not an instant process. It's something built gradually, as you commit to these principles and apply them in your routine. The most important thing is consistency. Even if you practice for just a few minutes each day, the impact is cumulative and profound. Remember that self-compassion is essential in this process. Instead of striving for perfection, accept that there will be days when it's easier and others when it's harder to apply these teachings. Growth happens when you are kind to yourself and persevere, regardless of the challenges. Over time, each small practice combines to create a solid foundation of serenity and balance, something that no one can take from you. Finally, see each experience as an opportunity to apply these principles and strengthen your inner peace. Even the most difficult situations can become valuable lessons and a field for personal development. By adopting this perspective, you become more aware of the value of each moment, cultivating a lighter, fuller life. This journey is yours, and each step makes a difference. Keep exploring and applying these teachings, and see how the regular practice of these principles can transform your view of the world and, above all, of yourself. If these teachings resonated with you and you want to continue this journey of transformation, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss upcoming videos on self-discovery and well-being. Here, we are building a space for growth and mutual support, where you'll find more content to help you cultivate calm and positivity in your daily life. Share in the comments below which of these principles you feel you most need to practice or which one resonated with you the most. Your experience may inspire others who are seeking the same path to balance and serenity. And if you know someone who could benefit from these teachings, please share this video with them. Remember, transformation is a process, and every small practice makes a difference. We're in this journey together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.